Welcome back to another episode of OverSoul Overland, where we explore the wilds within while traversing this beautiful wilderness we know to be our inheritance. Today we pick up where you left us last time. We're in search of that deeper snow mentioned to us by a kind stranger. So, hang on tight and let's see how the Hummer fares on its icy ascent deep into the reaches of Sitico. As we crest these snow-covered peaks and we wind through these snow-covered valleys, let's see what we can do to overcome the icy water crossing ahead and see what we can do about all these Jeeps hogging the road. Probably one of the most asked questions we get is, what is the setup as far as our wheels? Are we running a lift? And if so, what is it? Well, my Hummer came with originally a 3-inch lift, and we run 38 by 1350 R24 Arturo trail blade tires. But even with all of that wheel and all of that clearance, there's always a brigade of Jeeps somewhere out there while you're enjoying your trail ride. Can't blame them, it's a beautiful day. But when you see a group of Jeeps, you know there's rarely ever just one. So we went ahead and gave way to let them pass. The first guy was kind enough to tell us, hey, there's 7 rigs in our outfit. So we pull over and prepare for the long haul. And at about this third guy, there's a little guy in the back seat who is just mystified that there's a Hummer with no back to it tearing up these trails just like a Jeep. Well, maybe not just like a Jeep, but it's always cool when you get that little reaction from a little one. So without further ado, we've let him pass and it's our time to shine. Let's ride through this cutout tree and see what's on the other side of all of this. The beautiful thing about gaining altitude is not a lot of people actually go up there. So even though there's a little bit of a path ahead of us here, it's actually still pretty icy underneath. And why that's important is you don't want to get too comfortable at this altitude to the point where you're whipping it and it's pushing through. Because although it can be fun, and I'm sure my truck can handle it, it's my daily driver, it's my only vehicle, and I've got my wife and a younger person with me, so the last thing I want to do is put them at jeopardy. So remember, when you're out there, it's always better to play it safe than sorry. At some point when you're up that high, your heart gives way and you make room for peace, and you just gotta let creation sing the song it always has. Just to be there and be a part of it and witness it as it goes through its changes, however so seasonal they may be. It's nice to see. It's great to experience. And it can be a humbling experience for the heart. So if you're the type that is a bit of an introvert, or maybe you're just someone who needs some quiet, most of these roads are very manageable, and I'd encourage you to go take a ride through Citico Creek. It's beautiful. Take your time and enjoy it. one of the most vital and life-changing tips I can give to anyone who's new to this. Just stay within your comfort zone the first few rides, and find an area that you're comfortable with. And once you do, you'll begin to know the land and you'll begin to know the road, and with that, you kind of can test yourself a lot more. To all the Hummer owners out there in particular, as I'm sure you're aware, parts are getting harder and harder to find, especially if you have an SUT, which is the one with the truck bed. There were only 13,000 made in the US, and as some of those vital trim parts and other components get harder to find, you find that a lot of us are going to start to respect the trail a little bit more, just because it's not an easy fab fix. Sometimes you got to get a part that you just can't find for months. So, with that in mind, hopefully that gives you a little bit of a lens into how we do things and why they're done that way. At about this point, we're starting to begin our descent down the other side of the mountain. And surprise, surprise, there's no 10 inches of snow. Our hearts sank a little bit at that, but the trail was a little less touched, so it was still very pristine. And if you look off the road, it's still gorgeous. So it was far from a waste, but not quite what we expected or hoped for. So with this in mind, we're coming down and we're rapidly approaching Indian Boundary, which is one of the campsites on the other side of Sitico Creek. And in that area, you get to see a whole new variety of traffic. We knew it would be busy, but we didn't know it would be quite this busy. Apparently everybody had the same idea we did and decided today was the day, we're going up there, we're seeing the snow. And again, you can't really blame folks, because it's gorgeous. It is so gorgeous, and it's worthwhile. And so it begins, sharing the road again. The beauty of Indian Boundary, we're standing on a peninsula that just stretches out into this lake, and it's gorgeous. And as promised, it's time to take on some icy, watery water crossings. Now the water is actually coming up over the concrete slab here. Like a full-on dummy, I didn't get out and check. Just like, it looks good. The truck's heavy enough. We'll grip. So far, so good. But if you know anything about trail riding, sometimes it's easier to get into trouble than to get out of it. So let's see how things go when we turn around. pretty smooth sailing. Until we decide to try to go forward. Well, we made it through.